Hail and Meshes adventures, welcome to the world of Baldurs Gate 3. It's me, the Spud King, and I present to you my Divination School wizard build. So, for today I decided not to create my character, instead I pick in Gale just for fun. Why not to start as human? So, we're starting as human, as wizard, and we get in 3 cantrips as wizard. As always with wizard, we take in just basic combination. Long range spell like Firebolt, short range spell in melee range, Shocking Grasp, and Mage Hand for utility and other stuff. For our spells of choice today, we're picking 2 spells to increase our potential in the day, so it will be Long Strider and Mage Armor, a long range spell and melee range spell, so it's Magic Missile and Burning Hands, and some control and setup spells like Grease for setup and Sleep for control. Our background is Sage, because we can't change it as Gale and we don't care too much. For our ability distribution, skill proficiency. As human, just get athletics, because you want at least some athletics to resist being shoved. So enemies can't come close to you and basically shove you. Other stuff doesn't matter too much, pick whatever you like. For our ability distribution, we go in with safe bet like this. We don't need the strength, so we pick in like 8 strength, 10 wisdom, 10 charisma, just to round it up. Have some nice stats in this, and 16 intelligence with +1, so we basically get 15 and +1, 14 constitution with +2 for 16 constitution, and 14 in dexterity. Dexterity will add to our armor class, constitution to our hit points, and most importantly, it will help us keep our concentration going. And just like that, let's go into the game. So, as early game wizard, if you're not familiar how he works, basically you got your cantrips, and this is like spells like Firebolt that not use any resource, so you can cast them as much as you want. And we got long range and short range, Shocking Grasp, so if enemy is in melee range, just use Shocking Grasp. Then same we got for our spells, and for example Magic Missile, we can fire 3 magic missile at 1 person or at 3 persons separately, and it will use our spell slot. So that's spells, it's like level 1 spell slot to use the spell. So when we lose our spell slots, we can use Arcane Recovery as wizard to recharge them between the battles. Just like that, and we got 1 recharge point, so we basically as first level wizard got 3 level 1 spell slots in 1 day. Then you need to take a long rest and to recharge your spell slots. That's how it's working basically. And you want to start your day with Mage Armor on yourself to increase your armor class, and Long Strider on yourself to increase your movement speed in the battle. Just like that, you start as a wizard and we will level up. And after you casted this stuff, you go and recharge your points, so you can go into the battle buffed and with full spell slots. And just like that, let's level up. On level 2 we can pick our subclass, and for today we pick in Divination School. This school will give you ability to learn scrolls from Divination School with a discount, but there's not so many spells from this school anyway, so you don't care about this. But most importantly, you will get this portent, so your dreams grant you glimpses that let you influence the future. And that's what we're going to do. We will influence the future. Basically, you're getting some dices, and we can use these dices to change any dice of attack rolls or saving throws. So basically of your enemies, of your allies, any dice rolling around you, you can change it. So as wizard, when we're leveling up, we get ability to pick more spells, and we get ability to prepare more spells. But everything we learned on level 1 is kinda useful, and we can stick with this. So we can learn more spells, you can pick whatever spell you like. Some nice picks will be Tasha's Hider Slaughter, just to disable enemies, Shield to protect you, sometimes can be useful spell, but mostly in the late game. In early game you don't need it too much, just like that. So if you're playing like my build, I recommend to stick with some spells that will give you utility in exploration. So basically Enhance Sleep and Feather Fall, you can prepare them outside of the battle, use them and basically fall from greater heights, jump to greater heights, whatever you like. So it will be like exploration spells that you prepare, you play with them when you're going around, and then before the battle starts, you're trying to remove them from your pool and prepare normal spells that will be used in the battle. Just like that, we're going to level 3, and now we get access to level 2 spells. So there's some divination spells like Detect Thoughts, but this spell is not cool to get. You can basically find a scroll and learn this spell with some discount, and just like that, you will learn it, you can use it, you can cast it in the start of the day, and it will last for whole day, but you don't need it right now. Right now we're making some fighter mage. So Basically, what you want to do is to pick some spells that require you to make attack rolls, or any spells that require enemy to succeed saving throw. So for example, like Phantasmal Force is nice concentration spell that will inflict 1d6 damage every turn while you keep your concentration on the spell, and target required to succeed intelligence saving throw. So it's like pretty good spell to have in your arsenal, and we will definitely take it. Another good spell will be Scorching Ray. It's just crazy and super good spell from level 2, and just on level 2 you're firing 6d6 fire rays, and that's crazy. Another good pick could be Melf's Acid Arrow. First of all, it's doing 4d4 damage, and then it's adding 2d4 damage in the next turn, so it's like nice damage spell too. But for today build, we stick with Phantasmal Force and Scorching Ray. Just like that, let's go and show you how you can play it in early game. So early fights could look something like this, and you can start with a sleep spell, and yeah, you can upcast it. So if enemies around have around 24 hit points, you can cast it on every enemy and then basically put them into sleep. If they get more hit points, around 32 hit points, then you can upcast it to level 2 and it will use level 2 spell slot instead, but it can put creatures into sleep up to 32 hit points. Just like that, you can start by putting your enemies into sleep and basically removing them one by one. Really great stuff and strategy as a wizard. Of course, on level 3 already you will have creatures with larger health pools most of the time, so most of the time you will target just one or maybe two creatures at a time. But that's totally fine. So they will lose their turn, and now you can do some stuff. Again, it's not working like you adding disadvantage to enemy rolls. So it's not like enemy attacks you and then you ask them to roll one more time. You got totally different dices. So you got dice of 14 for this day and 9. So I got 2 dices. And basically I can change any roll to 9 or 14. And that's like great stuff. So for example, if we try to use our Phantasmal Force on this dude, we got 65% to hit, we're using it, and we totally hit him. And that's basically what we want to do. So for next turn, he will take damage of 1d6, and he will continue taking this damage every turn for 10 turns while we're keeping our concentration on him. And next turn we can use our other spells, and while they're sleeping, we can totally go and attack them with our ally, just like that. And basically the idea, you can change your die to 14 if you need 14 to hit, and yeah, bonuses still will be added, or enemy die to 9, so here the enemy will miss or you will hit. But while some of the enemies getting this damage from your Phantasmal Force, you can make next turn to prepare some setup of your spell, and basically we're setting up our zone with this grease spell, so we're making grease right now. Coolest part about grease, it's not require any concentration, so you're basically creating this grease surface. And enemies and allies on this stuff need to succeed saving throws or they will fall prone. And as you can see right now, Imp attacking our Lae'zel, and he needs 16 to hit. He rolled 18. Basically he rolled 19 and you can hover over it, and he got -1 bonus, so total of 18. And we can give him potent die 9, so he misses. Just like that, adjusted future. This imp is died to his Phantasmal Force, and basically after you put this setup stuff, for example your like fighter staying in the grease waiting for enemies to come, then he can just go and try dash out of the grease, and like that you completed your setup. So you got like 2 ideas right now. First one will be use Burning Hands, and this will light up this grease, or you can use your super strong spell. It's Scorching Ray, second level spell, firing basically 3 projectiles. You can split them between targets, and just like that, watch they disappear on this greasy surface. That's how you play this setup and kill scenario. And you can use even more grease to prolong this zone, create more explosions, whatever you like. So let's go and level up a little bit. And yeah, this dice is random, and they given to you when you're taking your long rest. So you're getting these 2 dice each day. So on level 4 we're picking cantrip, and we not care about this cantrip, so pick whatever you like. You already got everything you need, so for next levels pick whatever you like. For our spells, next spells, we can take something like control and damaging stuff that will synergize with all other abilities. So nice picks will be Hold Person and Mel's Acid Arrow, for example. And now we get access to feats, and we want ability improvement feats to increase our intelligence up to 18. Then we continue our journey as Divination Wizard, of course. And now we're picking more spells, and now we get access to level 3 spells. On level 3 you need to pick your Misty Steps that maybe you haven't took already from level 2 to be able to teleport around battlefield, and some damaging spells again like Lightning Bolt, Fireball, everything will work, whatever you like more. Everyone likes Fireball. And on level 6 we get in this new subclass feature, Expert Divination. So we get additional die, and on short rests we're gaining these dice, and there's like crazy good future. So right now we can control these dice a lot, and we get around 6 dice in a day, and that's a big amount. Being able to control future, to adjust 6 rolls in one day is really big stuff. So 6 level spells. What is like good spells? Okay, one of my favorite is Glyph of Warding. It's nice like setup spell, so why not to pick it? Haste is very good spell, but it requires you concentration. So Haste is cool spell if you plan to use your wizard as like guy who buffing other teammates and then doing some just basic magic, basic damage. But for these builds I like to make builds with wizard trying to do something on his own. So basically we need some concentration spells because they will be our setup spells most of the time. That's why we're picking slow for today. This is a really cool spell too. On level 7 we get additional spells, and pretty good spell will be Fire Shield to being able to reflect some damage on enemies, and very strong one, Phantasmal Killer. So that's a great one. It's doing 40-10 damage, but it's doing 10 turns in a row. That's crazy. So if you're able to keep this spell going on, if you're able to keep your concentration to break wisdom saving throws from your enemy, that's basically a spell that can inflict already on level 7 from 40 to 400 damage. And that's crazy stuff. And yeah, you can manipulate future, so that's why this spell could be useful for you. So for our spells on next turn, we can basically pick wherever we like. Some exploration stuff will work. So you can pick like Knock, maybe you need Dark Vision, maybe you need Detect Thoughts, maybe you just need Lightning Bolt to inflict some damage, something like this. And we get an ability improvement again. We want to get our intelligence as high as possible, as fast as possible. It will increase our spell difficulty check, so it will be harder for enemies to resist our magic, just like that. Just like that, we come into level 9, of course. And level 9, that's where we get access to level 5 spells. And for level 5, you don't need too much spells, so basically Cone of Cold is nice cold spell, and Hold Monster, very good spell too, so why not to pick them? And we continue up to level 10. So on level 10, good stuff that you will get is new actions, and basically you get this Third Eye Dark Vision, so you can start your day with basically pressing this Dark Vision, and you will gain ability to see in the dark up to 24 meters. That's why Divination School is really good for guys like human who don't have this Dark Vision on their own. Same, again, very cool actions, why not to have them? So, cantrips, again, we don't care. Spells, we don't care, but I recommend not to go for too much level 5 spells. Again, we want to pick something that's doing attack rolls, that requires saving throws from enemies. So even like basic disable spells from level 1, like Tasha's Hideous Laughter, will work very nice. Same as like Wall of Fire, why not to pick it? And on level 11 we getting access to level 6 spells. And yeah, we want this Disintegrate as our main spell. There's some other good spells from level 6 that will require enemies to succeed on some saving throws. So Chain Lightning, doing from 10 to 80 damage. It requires dexterity saving throw, so it's like pretty nice stuff. But it will force multiple targets to succeed on this throw, so you don't want to spend so many dice. Basically you won't be even asked to do so. So Disintegrate, one target spell that requires target to succeed on dexterity saving throw. So if target succeeds, he will be saved from this spell, but if he not, then you will do this 50 to 100 damage and maybe disintegrate your target. That's why it's really big and cool spell. So we will use this as our main spell Flash to Stone is kind of fun spell too. Autos Irresistible Dance is very cool for controlling spell, but I recommend just to go backwards and use some other spells from previous levels actually, because you don't have a lot of spell slots from level 6, basically you got only one. So level 12, again same rules, we pick in just spells that we want, that we haven't learned already because you're playing a wizard, and I guess you got almost all spells from spell scrolls already that you need at least some time. So just like that, in some good spells like honorable mentions, like protection from energy, can be used many times. So when you need some protection from different damage types. Polymorph, really nice to make your enemies into ships. And basically we can pick our last feat. And last feat, I recommend picking Spell Sniper. So what does Spell Sniper do? It's reducing numbers that you need to roll to make a critical hit by 1. So how this works, basically you can attack your enemy and you got this 19 dice or 20 dice and you will roll it 100% of the time because you got this future, and that's really crazy stuff. So you can pick any additional cantrip, Eldritch Blast will work. Let me show you how you play this wizard in the late game. So you're basically starting your day again with Long Strider on yourself, with Mage Armor on yourself, if it's better than your armor, basically. And you can cast this new stuff. Dark Vision, Third Eye, very cool, so you can see through the dark. Or you can use this See Invisibility, and you can use it together. So basically right now you see invisible, you see in the dark. It's nice and cool feature. And if you got no dice, you just basically use your short rest, so you regain your dices. And in the fight, it will look something like this. At the start of the fight, you basically can teleport with Misty Step wherever you like. Just like that, it uses only bonus action, and then you can use your action to cast your spells. So when enemy rolling anything, you can even help your allies with these dices. So now our Lae'zel needs this 10 to save from enemy acid splash, and we will give her 12. So she saved, and we basically can do whatever we like. Maybe Phantasmal Killer, why not to cast it on this dude? So on next turn, he will not be happy to get this on his head. And yeah, you can not react if you wish. So we get this 2 damage, it's totally okay. So this guy attacks, his turn ended, and he gets this damage from our Phantasmal Killer. And this cool part about this Phantasmal Killer, if you fighting this big guy, so as I told you, it will keep doing damage for 10 turns. And you basically, if you want to destroy some guys, use Disintegrate, and just like that, he destroyed. So there's like pile of ash behind him. And as you can see, we restored our dices, and we got this die 5 and die 14, so we can use 14 on our attack rolls if it's enough to do some damage, or we can do and give enemy 5 so they can't resist our different magic. So we got some control stuff, for example slow, we can keep concentration on this slow, and we can slow multiple targets in one turn, so basically just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 targets with level 3 spell. So we can just press OK, and we will concentrate on the spell, and they will become slower. As you can see, they just slowed, so we can successfully just disengage against them. And when they slow, they move for such a little distance, so we can definitely slow enemies at first, then use Misty Step and teleport to some safe areas. So they need to use dash just to travel for this far. And that's basically it. That's everything this dude can do. He will use range attack. Yeah, that's nice. And move for this distance. That's just laughable distance. So that's our control stuff and what we can do in the start of the battle to just adjust battlefield a little bit. Then basically you can make some Glyph of Warding stuff. So you can use this Glyph of Warding Sleep over here. And enemies will probably go into sleep mode, or you can do this Glyph of Warding with some other damage types. It's a nice spell. Or you can basically use your Scorching Ray, you can upcast it to higher levels. Let's upcast it to level 4, for example, and it will do from 10 to 60 damage. So you can easily just target a lot of enemies with this stuff and destroy them just with a single spell, and still use your Misty Step from level 2 spell slot to just teleport around a little bit wherever you like. And yeah, most important and cool feature, of course, to use this die to affect future. And as you can see, Mind Flare need 18 to hit, and we can even affect his roll, so he will hit this Commander Jalk, but we don't do it. Let him miss. Why not? Now he got attacked, and we can affect this roll too, so that's like crazy stuff. And yeah, our last die is basically 5, we don't need it, so let him miss. No, it's not latest die, we got 14, so we got this die. And game is kinda smart, it's not giving you option to roll, for example, 5 on your rolls. So it's not only giving you, like, if you rolled not enough, then you can reroll and possibly kill your enemy. So game is kinda smart. And as you can see, he just saved, and that means basically even if we rolled 14, it wasn't enough. Sorry. We got this spell difficulty check, so it's 8 base difficulty check plus 5 intelligence from our intelligence bonus, that's why we need high intelligence, plus 4 from proficiency from level. Total 17. So he needs to roll with his dexterity modifier basically, and his dexterity modifier is 4, and he rolled 14, exactly 1 point more than needed. And if we saved this 5 portent die, we could reroll his roll and basically hit this spell. That's how it works. So always think what die you will need and when. And affect your future. So just like that, match is pretty basic, pretty fun, with a lot of stuff. And yeah, you can upcast this Phantasmal Killer up to level 5 or even level 6. And it will do on level 6, 6d10 every turn. That's like crazy for 10 turns. And yeah, right now, he rolled exactly 17 to save from our Phantasmal Killer, and we can reroll his die, so now he affected by this spell, and as you can see, we just basically can do nothing after this stuff, because every turn he will get damage from this spell, and that's like craziest part. He will be destroyed just in seconds from this spell while we keep in concentration, so make sure not to break your concentration and just hit with spells that not require any concentration. So Wall of Fire require concentration, be careful. Scorching Ray not require any concentration. Elf's Acid Arrow not require any concentration, you can upcast it up to level 5, and basically this enemy will still get some damage. And that's idea of this build, to constantly hit this like dot spells. So this dude got this Phantasmal Killer, he got Melf's Acid Arrow, and on next turn he will get this Melf's Acid Arrow damage plus Phantasmal Killer damage, and that's crazy, guys, that's crazy, look at this damage. So he gets it on his turn, he now 63 HP just right now, and he just got 30 damage. That's insane, just for nothing, and we basically doing nothing, and we can right now do wherever we want. So we see enemies incoming from this side, we can do this Glyph of Warding Sleep, so we protect our allies over here. We can still use our Misty Step to just travel around. So the enemy is dashing to our trap. He's coming. No, not enough movement. Not enough movement. So he's still not stepping on our trap. And he finally saved from our Phantasmal Killer, but that's totally okay. We can basically teleport again with Misty Step and use Scorching Ray to finish him off, maybe finish this Mind Flayer too, maybe attack these guys a little bit, just like that. Multiple attacks in one hit. And he steps on trap, but he's saved from this sleep action. So that's where we can affect future and use our die to put him into sleep. Sadly, we used all our die. That's really sad. So that's where we can end this demonstration with our beautiful fireball, just like that. So now you can go and have a lot of fun playing this build. I recommend watching video on the screen right now, it's awesome video too, and see you in the next videos, guys.